Welcome to Uncorked and Uncut, Email Marketing Friends at Home, a vodcast with a new guest each episode, and your hosts, Kath and Ryan Phelan.
So, Kath, welcome. Kath and I welcome everybody to what we're calling Uncorked and Uncut with Email Marketing Friends at Home. So, we were chatting a couple weeks ago and talking about our personal lives and talking about just everything that's going on. I mean, shoot, it's the COVID thing, and what you do is talk about your personal lives a whole lot more. But Kath and I have been friends for years, and we thought, God, this would be fun if we did this on video and did it like a vodcast or something like that. And then this was born.
Yes.
Now, we want to give a nod out to, and we got to give a little credit. So Paul Schreiner and Chris Marriott, right? They're doing their coffee thing, and I've been on that. I was on the first episode and had a lot of fun. They drink coffee. Kath and I are going to up the game, and we have drinks. So I have a mimosa, and Kath has...
I have some pink gin.
Pink gin.
Yes, indeed.
All the rave.
Mm-hmm. Well, so, I thought I'd ease into it. You know, it's kind of like it's a bit more. Yeah.
It's almost 5 o'clock there. Just,
almost.
Like,
give or take a couple of hours.
Yes, exactly. So what we hope to do with this this series is we're going to pull in some of the insiders that have been in the industry for a heck of a long time, and we know that a lot of people are looking for distraction, something to not watch the news, something to not kind of disconnect from work. And we want people to get two things out of this series. Number one, a personal look at who the insiders are, where they live, what they do on their off time. We're marketers, but we're also people. And so we want to kind of talk about that, how they got their start, and then fold into how has that shaped their strategy? What is the advice they would give? But be rather kind of fun about it. Kath and I were talking that we're just going to make stuff up. And so every episode could be completely different. So one of the things, we may have somebody that likes to cook and we'll do a cooking lesson, right? We may have somebody that likes wine, like me, but it's too early in the morning. That wants to drink some wine and share what they know about wine, right? Or scotches or whiskeys or, whatever their hobby is, we want to do it. This is not my office. This is my kitchen where I spend an inordinate amount of time. Kath, where are you currently located?
I'm in my dining room looking out to my garden, which I love to do. So that's another option too. Someone might be very passionate about gardening and they might walk us around their garden.
Yep.
So it's all going to be within the capabilities of, obviously, the technical capabilities within, the interviewee. And besides having, or in addition to having the actual, insider experts, we're also going to be having brand side experts as well, which is going to be really, really exciting. And you're going to get to know faces that you've never even, seen before, but they're managing amazing email programs, and we're going to find out what makes them tick, personal and also professionally as well.
Cool. I'm excited.
So am I.
I think there's going to be a lot of fun. So let's jump in. I wanted to. So one of the things Kath and I wanted to do too is with this, what we're calling a pilot episode, is kind of talk to each other about things we don't normally talk to each other about when we're in a pub. Because usually, one of the cool things about this industry is we all go to conferences, and what you end up seeing is all the people that always go to conferences are always hanging out. They're decompressing, and we talk about our families, and we talk about all that stuff. And we kind of wanted to recreate that here in some respects and talk about, what's going on in our life. So I'll start off with the first question for Kath. Listen, I have noticed that every Zoom call I've had starts with, how you doing? How you holding up? How's it doing working from home? So I'm going to ask you that but in a different light, because you always work from home.
Yeah, pretty much. I can work from the office, which is really only a kind of like almost a virtual office as such, with a small team. Or ever since I upgraded my house and did some renovations, it's like you can't get me out of the house.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the one thing on being on calls? What's the biggest change that you've had with, now you're in London, I'm in Dallas. What's the biggest change you've seen professionally or just in general?
Yeah, the biggest change. Besides all the, complete and utter craziness of what we're, company updates, what we're doing about COVID. I received one from Qatar Airways the other day. That makes sense because they're an airlines, right? They're an airline, so it's a really, really. But if you're just a business, I'm not sure. So aside from all of those emails that I'm getting, for me personally, nothing that much has changed, except for my social life is different. This is my social life, catching up with friends and everything via Zoom, Google Meets, that sort of thing, or even house party.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm kind of, I'm what we in London, we would call me one of the lucky ones because I didn't have to radically change my life. With work environment, I'm still able to work from home. I'm still incredibly busy. And I live in a beautiful house which has got a garden. So, and I haven't got lots of small little children running around trying to disturb me while I work.
Right.
Because all my children are all grown up.
They're just big
So,
running around distracting you.
sorry, yeah, just the big ones. Yeah. Although the biggest one, he cooked me hamburger for lunch today. So I'm not complaining about that distraction. No.
Very nice. I think on my side, I'm with you. Not much has changed. I have a home office. I have a whole setup. The one thing my whole family lives around here, and we're keeping socially distant because one member of my family is got a immunocompromised, so we got to be really careful with that.
Yeah.
Shopping for them, so I haven't been able to give my father a hug or my mom a hug, or that's hard. That's hard not to have them over for dinner or celebrate birthdays or anniversaries. My parents just celebrated their 50th anniversary. And
wow.
Yeah.
By themselves.
For them, huh?
Yeah, actually, do you know what? Oh my goodness, my parents are May 14. It's
really?
going to, yes.
Funny.
Yes. And they'll be doing it.
They had to do that all by themselves, right?
Yeah.
So that's tough,
Yeah.
But that's that and the spontaneous trip to the store to get whatever I need for that evening's cooking or whatever, or just, hey, I forgot to get that. So
Yeah.
but work. I'm a bit busier than anything. Email is recession proof. Email is one of those things that survives this kind of stuff. And
absolutely. And if anything, this is going to be making brands see, as everyone's going online and everything, email has become more important than ever before. I didn't think that was going to be even possible, but yeah, I think, yeah.
So one of the, I've been spending a lot of time on the Twitter.
Yeah.
Because it's entertaining. But one of the best, and Facebook is replete with these, right? These people asking demographic questions.
Yeah.
And the best one I've seen so far was on Twitter. And it said, what were your 5 previous careers or jobs before you got into the email space?
Oh, yes.
So what are your 5?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I actually answered that one. My 5. Okay. So I could probably bring it up, so save me trying to remember it. Well, okay. So previous to Holistic, I was doing Plan to Engage, but Plan to Engage actually morphed into Holistic. So it's really the same company, just change of name.
Yep.
Prior to that, I was doing, I had EasyMail. EasyMail was an ESP, which I started up in the late, when was that? So that was 19, 98, I think it
Oh,
was.
wow.
Yeah. So prior to that, I was a web designer, which is how EasyMail was born, because I had a client who wanted some email marketing, right? This is, kind of like back in 1996.
Right.
And so we kind of looked around in my program and I decided, oh, we could do that. So, so we did. And one by one, all of our clients wanted it. And then by 1998, we kind of went, okay, well, this is kind of like taken off. So web designer before that, I was a photographer. Actually, I also had a clothing business. So I designed and made children's clothing. And I had 3 labels: Brittany Lauren, Little Men, and Hey Babe.
Oh, wow.
And I would sell them via Party Plan. So, yeah, basically every job that I've had has been mine. So I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We talked about that the other day.
Yeah.
My 5, which is always fun. So before email, so I've been in email for 20 years. And before email, I started off in 1998 in the affiliate marketing space for a startup in Omaha, Nebraska.
Wow.
And thankfully decided that affiliate marketing was weird and got out of it. But before that, I was a nightclub DJ at a country nightclub.
Of course.
Of course.
Of course.
I helped open a restaurant in Omaha, Nebraska as part of their management team.
Mm-hmm.
And did all the marketing and promotions. Before that, I was in the seminary studying to be a Catholic priest.
Of course.
Of course.
That's absolutely one thing I love about you, because do you know what?
What?
All right. You are an amazing speaker.
Oh,
and I think that's where you got a lot of your ability to speak. Yeah. You preach the word.
I've heard that from more people. It's hilarious. I had one guy after, and I didn't know him at all. One guy after a keynote I gave or a speech I gave or something like that, he comes up to me and he says, "When were you in the ministry?" And I said, "Well, how did you come to this?" He says,
"Yeah,
I thought I was at church there for a while."
Yeah.
So yeah. I have a lot of fun with it. I don't know what it is. It comes naturally. I think it's because I was a DJ, right? And I got used to speaking. I mean, we would put 450, 500 people in the club every night.
Yeah.
On the weekends. And I got used to being on stage and getting comfortable with being on stage and not caring, right?
Yeah.
Caring about people, not caring about the reactions and stuff and feeding off of it. And then prior to that, prior to seminary, well, that's it. Really, the seminary was. I mean, I had a couple jobs. I went to a year of community college, thinking that I wanted to be a programmer, and learning COBOL and Pascal.
Wow, you were a trendsetter, a programmer back then.
Yeah, and finally discovered that I sucked at it.
Okay.
But later,
it's good to know that.
My first startup, so I had a startup back in 90 or in 2000 that me and my best friend did, but I was coding Cold Fusion and HTML. But that's as close as I've got, because I liked it, but I discovered I was better at marketing.
See, how I ended up getting into being a web designer is I wanted a job that would be a part-time job that I would be in command of, so I still had small children. So I wanted to sort of be able to work from home. So I went, I'll be a graphic designer, because I've been a photographer, I've been an interior designer, I've been a clothing designer, fashion designer, right? So I'm going, well, graphic design, I haven't done that yet. I'm going to be able to do that. So before I even went on a course of graphic design, I went, okay, this is the natural marketer in me. Well, I'm going to need a website, aren't I? So, and this was like back in 1995 or something ridiculous. And so I went and learned how to code, like raw code in HTML. And I got hooked. That was it. Forget this graphic design business. I was and that was it. I was totally hooked. But I totally understand what you were saying about about speaking, because I used to be a singer, funny enough, at church, and I'd sing public places as well. But it was that whole singing experience, I think, that gave me the love of being on stage.
Yeah.
And gave me well, I want to say ease of being on stage, but I can remember my first couple of times that I spoke. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Once I got over the very first bit, I was fine. But for the very first bit, when you're kind of like just introducing yourself, my heart was palpitating so much that I couldn't breathe, and therefore I couldn't actually talk. It was hysterical. And then after about the third time, like, you know, I kind of got into the whole flow, because once that settled in, I'm passionate about email, and I love talking about it. And I love helping people and teaching them about it and everything. So I'd get straight into that. And then after about the third time, I'm sort of going, oh, no, actually, that's really, really cool. And then all the nerves just went. And to this day, I haven't been nervous. I'm literally just like, okay, great, I'm going to speak. You know, I get excited.
And I think it's because, at least in my perspective, and I think in yours too, because I've seen you do this kind of, we love it, we live it, we're passionate about it, we're comfortable with it. Not the best, the fun, I can name some of the best ones I've done. But the funniest one I did was, I was working for Blue Hornet. We were at a conference, and one of our guys was going to get up on stage in front of like 100 people or so and give a live demo of the platform. Well, it was like 20 minutes before the time, and nobody could find him. And so they're looking around. 5 minutes goes by. The marketing person comes up and says, hey, we can't find so-and-so. Could you hop up on stage and maybe present for 45 minutes? And I'm like, sure. So they look for him. 10 minutes left. She goes, you need to put together a deck in 10 minutes and get up on stage and present.
Yep.
So I'm like, boom, 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 boom. Threw together a deck in like 6 minutes, threw it on a USB, gave it to the guy, hopped up on stage and presented for 45 minutes in front of 100 people. And I was like, and it's back to the DJing. It was such a rush. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, I did exactly the same to an audience in the Netherlands. And the speaker, who was my colleague at the time, he couldn't catch, he missed the plane for whatever reason. And so I had to put together, so I got his deck, slightly modified. I had about 20 minutes to do that, slightly modified it. It was a 3-hour training course. And then I went and delivered it. And another one, I actually delivered a 3-day training course with half a day's notice. Never ever having taught it before. And it was on digital marketing, not even my niche subject of email marketing. So, but you just rise up to it. It's that little bit kind of, it's excitement of it.
So let's shift a little bit.
Okay.
I want to know where you grew up. I want to know before internet, before anything, when you were in a little pigtails, running around.
Goodness. Have you seen a photo of me in those pigtails?
I have. That's why I mentioned the pigtails. I've seen the picture. Very pigtails.
Yes. Okay. So I was born in Newcastle in Australia and lived there till I was 7. And then we moved 100 miles north up to Sydney. So I've always lived no further than 10 minutes from the beach. So, and in Sydney, I lived on the northern beaches. So kind of a bit of a northern beaches girl. Then kind of like had family and all that kind of stuff. And then we came over to England in 2004. But essentially, that's why my accent's a bit weird. It's not quite Australian. It's not quite British.
It's kind of in the middle.
Some people kind of think it could actually be South African. And I think that's because I had a South African friend when I was young. I tend to absorb accents. Yeah. So, so my accent's just all over the place. But yeah, why
did you move to England? What was the impetus there?
Yeah, okay. So basically to bring EasyMail over. Long story short, EasyMail at the time was one of there was only two other ESPs in Australia at the time. And we were like, had the biggest market share there. It was great and everything. And I could have easy access to the big brands, the big high street retailers, international and national. National were fine because they're happy to buy it locally. But when it came time to selling to an international brand, what would happen is I could have easy access to them because of the profile and everything. And they, back then, think about this, right? We're talking about 1998. A lot of brands were sending newsletters via BCC. So I walk in and I show them the system that they can track opens, they can track clicks. You don't have to send BCC. All the rest of it, it's amazing. And they're just like blown away going, this is going to revolutionize our lives.
Right.
Fantastic. We're sold. We want it. But we have to actually go and pitch for, the budget from UK, from our head office in the UK or in the US. So they go there, they'd sell them on it, and then they say, this is great. We want you to find the same supplier who's based in the UK or in the US. And so we just went, well, we're educating everyone, we're converting everyone and, using ESPs. So we're going to come on over and start, seeing how we go there. So yeah, that's what brought us over. Family of 5. So my then husband and 3 children. So yeah, that's good. It's huge. Yeah. And what about you? I mean, you mentioned Omaha.
Yeah.
And I was quite excited when you told me first about Omaha. I don't know. I was just going, you're the first person I know that's from Omaha. I think it's got something, do you know what? It's got something to do with Steve Martin. Didn't one of his movies, he was in Omaha?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's got something to...
Here's the funny thing. You'll not only know somebody that lived in Omaha, but I actually grew up on a farm north of Des Moines, Iowa.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had, I lived on a farm until I was 17. And then we moved to Des Moines my senior year in high school. But lived on a farm, loved it. Best upbringing I could have had. We had my dad in the 80s farm crisis went out of business, but lived on a family plot and rented out the land so we could still stay there. But we had row crop corn and cattle and hogs back when he was farming, and then when he wasn't farming, we still had the corn and the cattle, but had 13 acres up north of Des Moines. And growing up was my folks opening up the door and saying, hey, go outside and play until I ring the bell for lunch, and then I don't want to see you until I ring the bell for dinner. And
yeah.
Nearest grocery store was a half hour away.
Wow.
Nearest neighbor was a quarter of a mile away, that kind of thing.
And when you played, were you playing by yourself or did you have siblings to play with?
I had a sister, so I have a sister. Have a sister, and we played together. And then I had my best friend growing up, and her sister would come over, or we would go to their house. And one of the things, we built this tree house in the pasture in the farm. And it was just like any wood we could find, we would put up. And I think we put like a zillion nails in this tree. But it was cool. I mean, we had platforms, we had decks, we had trap doors, we had a remote location.
Oh, wow.
Platform. And then we had this fishing line pulley thing so we could pass messages back and forth.
Serious.
It was hilarious. And then, so years later, after we left and the farm sold and all this stuff, I come back one day and I asked the owners of it, I said, is the treehouse still out there? He says, no, we had to take it down. It was unsafe.
Oh.
He's like, there's nails all over the place. How many nails did you guys put into this thing? I'm like,
have nail, have hammer, we'll use them.
But
yeah, I used to have something similar. We used to have a creek nearby, and I would go and lots and lots of bushes and big trees by the creek and everything. And I would go, I couldn't, because it wasn't my property, I couldn't build a tree house, but I could I could brush the ground, and I could make that my, you know, my little fortress as such, you know, and I would look after it and I would tend to it. And I would put my little, my diary in the hole in the tree and come back to it and everything. And actually my friend the other day was asking me about chocos, because I've just been over to Antigua and we found some chocos. So chocos are they're in Antigua, South America, Australia. And they were growing just in a bush by the river, by the creek. That's not really a river, by the creek. And I would just go and pick, you know, Mum would say, can you go down and pick me, you know, 6 chocos? I want to make some pickles or something like that. So yeah, those were the days. But that's been a lot. I have got a sister, but she and I are so very different. She'd be inside reading a book and I'd be, you know, bouncing and listening on my trampoline, hitting a ball against the wall with my tree.
Yeah.
Or walking in through the creek, or riding my bike, something like that. So I'm used to being by myself. In fact, actually, do you know what? This will be interesting. A lot of people think that I'm an extrovert because when they see me on stage, they think, oh, she's got to be an extrovert. And then I'm at a conference and I'm talking and I'm friendly and I'm introducing people to people and all this sort of stuff. And then I go away to my room and I recover. Because I'm actually an introvert. What about you?
Same way. I'm the same way. I can be on stage and sociable, but I much rather, I mean, I love talking to people, right? That's it. But I would much rather sit down with you or some of my other friends at a bar and talk one-on-one. But I like to go back to my hotel room and just recover and be silent and quiet and and just get back into the regular place. It's almost like you put on this stage presence and then you have the regular stuff, right? And it's I don't want to over engineer it, but it's just I need to get back to a center. When I was traveling all the time, I used to do that. I would talk to my wife or friends and they're like, oh my God, you're in so-and-so. What are you doing tonight? I said, oh, I'm getting room service in my hotel room because I don't want to go out and see people today. You know, I used all my words at the client's office and I'm done.
That's it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm renowned for literally disappearing in the middle of a party. It's like, where's she gone? You know, it's almost like you get to the point where I'm done. I've got to leave. I don't even have enough words to say goodbye.
Yeah.
I've just got to go. Yeah, exactly.
So talking about being on stage, what is I think all of us have a theme when we're pitching, when we're applying for a keynote or somebody comes to us, we always have ideas of stuff. And of course we always ask, what's the audience? What's the mission goal? How can we reinforce that? Whatever. But what's your strategic theme on stage? What's the thing that always comes through when you go and hear Kath speak? And then the follow-up is why
yeah
that?
Okay. Well, I've kind of got 3, but they all integrate into each other. You can't have one without the other, right? So, well, you could, theoretically you could, I guess, but I believe it's better to be all together. So the first is the holistic nature, right? So the holistic nature of email marketing and why we should take the holistic approach as opposed to just looking at email as a single solitary standalone channel, right? Come to more about that in a minute. The second one is a customer centricity of it. Again, this really, really feeds into the holistic. Again, you'll find out in a minute. And then the third one, actually, there could even be a fourth one, you know. Yeah, you know, there could be, because testing, I'm really, really passionate about testing and that. And again, we do the testing, the holistic approach with testing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll sort of, we'll stick with those 3 for the now. But there, because the fourth one's probably going to ease its way in anyhow, I think. But if we go back to the picture, right? The fourth one is strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But again, it's hard to go for the holistic approach if you don't have a strategy.
Yeah.
So this is very much leading with strategy rather than leading with tactics. So the holistic approach is all about looking at the customer and looking at the customer journey. So it's really, really that simple. So instead of us looking at email as a channel, which is a very brand-centric approach, we're looking at the customer, which is where that, customer centricity comes into it. We're looking at the customer and their journey or their potential journey. There's lots of them. And then we see how email fits in, but also other channels fit in. So because we're taking the holistic approach, which is very customer centric, it's all about the customer. And we're trying to do what I call helpful email marketing. And then of course, what we want to be doing then, because that's based then, that helps you to put together a strategy, right? A holistic strategy, which is going to be looking at all the channels, putting them in where and as needed. And then the holistic testing side of things, I just don't think that we are, as marketers, email marketers, we are not testing as well as we could. And you know what? I'm not blaming that on the marketers at all. It's more of a case of, I've been doing so many interviews of late that, they always ask this, and what I've said in a recent interview is because how it is that most email marketers actually fall into email marketing.
Yes.
Right? You fell into it, I fell into it. It just kind of like, it just happens. So most, who actually leaves high school and says, oh, I'm going to be an email marketer when I grow up,
Nobody.
Nobody. So because of that, and there's no course that you can go to, you can't go and get a degree in email marketing or anything like that. You can in digital, but not in email. So because of that, we're actually not taught how to test scientifically within email, which is different to conversion rate optimization. The closest thing you can do in email marketing to testing for conversion rate optimization, the way that they do it, test landing pages and everything, is your marketing automation ones. But your BAU campaigns, your regular promotional campaigns, which are more campaign centric rather than time-based ones, like your programs and your landing pages and everything, no, we don't really know how to do it. Yeah. And so therefore we kind of just look at a tool and it says, well, you just need to do this, and then they do that, and then they come up with the results, and the results aren't necessarily statistically significant, and they get a little bit disheartened. And then from that they sort of go, maybe it's not even worth it. It's taking time, it's taking energy and effort and everything. So if you put those three things together, as you can see, I literally could be talking for an hour minimum on all of those three things: customer centricity, the testing, and the holistic approach. But that is it in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. So what about you? What's your big?
My big is I try to, and this goes back to our earlier conversation, I try to be inspiring and motivational.
Yeah.
Get people fired up, get people excited about it. Be passionate, just show the passion of what the channel or what the activity can be. But I always seem to focus on this thought of incremental innovation.
Nice.
That being very realistic with the marketer to say, listen, I know it's tough. I know you got, I've been there. I've been on the front line pushing. And to give people realistic ways to approach things, not pie in the sky, things that aren't going to happen. God, I wish that would happen one day. It's like, I want to go back. I want to give people the ideas so when they walk out of there, they can actually have notes of what to do when they go back to their office.
Yeah, nice.
And be excited about it. That's what I've been trying to do is get people excited about doing this stuff, because I know it's like a drug almost. Once you take it back and put it in place and it works, it's like, holy crap, I'm going to do it again. And that's how we get innovation in this industry. And so I think beyond, strategy first, tactics second, that's a theme I have a lot. And the programmatic stuff, I always try to put anything I'm talking about in those kind of themes or those kind of dynamics, so that plus it's my style. Number one, I don't like PowerPoint. Hate PowerPoint. I would love, I would rather do a TEDx kind of thing where it's, 5, 6 slides and they're all just pretty pictures.
Yeah.
But I've gotten to that point. I used to have to rely on slides to remind me what to say.
Yes.
And now I would rather give keynotes and presentations with just pictures of kittens.
Totally. And but that's because we've been in it for a long time, and we've actually presented. I think I've counted over 1,000 times, right? You too.
But if you're if you're starting out, be reliant on PowerPoint. Don't read from the slide. Just be reliant on PowerPoint to guide you and give you the confidence.
Yes. Use
notes. Use presenter view. Learn how PowerPoint works when you're presenting. There's a reason they call it a confidence monitor, right?
Yeah.
I always used to encourage strategists who worked for me to buy a portable monitor. They sell these. They're like $200. They're expensive, but you can slip them in a briefcase, but they attach to your computer and allow you to get presenter mode where you can see your notes, or make sure you're seeing the presenter mode in there so you can read your notes, remember what you need to say. I started off that way a long time ago.
Right.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah. No, but that's interesting what you were saying about the passion. And I think that is the key theme that has always come back to me in the feedback, and unlike you, I am not I am not as good a presenter as you. Like, I'm not as clean, as professional and everything, but I've got the passion like you do.
You've got the passion. You bet you do.
And so that passion is what people buy into.
Yes.
So if anyone here is listening to this, this is really, you want to become a speaker, it's lead with the passion. That's it. Everything else, the actual professionalism and how to actually present, that can all come. It does. It will come with experience. And I'm hoping that every single time I do get, like you were saying, incrementally, improving and different each time. But it's the passion. And seriously, if you are wanting to sell people, and that's the other thing about both you and I introduce those different concepts.
Yeah.
We introduce innovative ideas, things that haven't been talked about before, different approaches. And for us to be able to do that, and for them to get picked up and actually even just listened to, we need to have that passion.
Yeah.
Because then they're going to go, oh, okay, this is actually worth considering.
It's who is more believable, somebody that states the fact or somebody that's passionate about it. And I can teach, and you can teach presentation skills up one side and down the other. We can teach somebody how to get on a stage in front of 500 people and present, given enough time. But we cannot teach passion.
Yeah.
Can't teach it. Can't teach your ability to get somebody to believe what you're saying.
Yeah. Or even not just to believe, but even just to inspire them.
Yes.
Because a lot of brand marketers and B2B marketers, they're there in their audience. They've stolen a day out of their hectic schedule, and they're really wanting some great takeaways that's going to help them in their day-to-day lives at work.
Yep.
And so, it's generally come at a big cost to them, because they're going to have to work doubly hard the next day or whatever, or the next couple of days, that kind of thing. And so for them to actually sit there, listen, and then walk away and just go, oh, man, that was so good. I feel, I'm reinvigorated. I'm refreshed. I'm excited. I can't wait to. All of those kind of things. Yeah. That's what you want marketers to be saying, after they've heard someone speak. Because and that, I think, is the job of a speaker. Yeah. Certainly informing for sure, but
Yeah. What's the one advice, because we got about 10 minutes left, what's the one piece of advice you give somebody, either you mentor or would give somebody that would come to you and say, what's the one thing I need to know?
Okay, not about speaking or about doing email marketing?
Anything about email marketing, about a career.
Oh, about a career. Okay. I was actually asked that the other day. I can't think of what my answer was. You give me yours while I think of mine.
What was it? God. I wasn't ready for you to put it back on me. I was still searching for my answer. So what's the one piece of advice? Let's here's one thing I wish I could go back 15 years and tell myself.
Yeah.
Which is this industry is incredibly small. It is a family unit. You and I have talked about this before, is that unlike any other industry I've ever seen, the people in this industry are definitely family. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he mentioned the same kind of thing. And the one piece of advice I would give is always conduct yourself professionally.
Yes.
Because the person you tick off today may be your boss in 3 jobs.
Yes.
And this is an industry unlike any other I've seen, that the person that leaves a job or moves or doesn't burn a bridge.
Yes.
Is well respected in this space.
Yeah.
Because listen, I'll tell you, if you're looking for a job and you don't think that your soon-to-be boss isn't calling their friends in the industry to ask about you, you're crazy, because they are.
I know. When I first came and I went to a big, I think it was in the Excel Centre or somewhere, a big exhibition here in London when I first came. And I was being introduced to everyone, and I'm looking at all the competitors are literally in stalls opposite each other, and they're almost hissing at each other. It was absolutely crazy. And when they found out I was going to be a competitor, they were literally, hissing at me, and I went, this is totally crazy. So what I did was, because I went, there's plenty of work here, this is email, right? So I started putting these dinners together in London, which you have been to quite a few of them.
Yeah.
And I started bringing everyone together in the industry. And pretty soon they started went, oh, do you know what? Actually, he's my competitor, but he's a really nice bloke.
Yeah.
And when they decide to move, they go over to work with that really nice bloke. And, it is too small an industry to have, problems with people. Yeah. And that's the other thing too, MediaPost, just quickly on this one, MediaPost, when I first went to MediaPost, it was at Captiva Island, and they had 2 events back to back. One was the search event, and then email marketing. And the guys that ran it, they were just going, we love the email conference. We just love it. Everyone is so nice. They haven't got the egos. They haven't got that competitiveness, or they're not trying. They're in it together to make email marketing a wonderful channel for the consumers. Yep. And I think that's what it's all about. Yeah.
And our same friend, because I'm sure Whitfield said that to you.
Yeah.
He told me the same thing once, and he says, I am constantly amazed that one minute you guys are debating on stage rather fiercely, and the next minute you're at the bar laughing hysterically about a dog running across the street or something like that. He said, you guys are great. You'll be competing one minute and drinking the next. He says, you don't care. And he says, we care about our professional jobs and stuff, but when we close the office door, we generally like each other and
that's it.
Admire each other. I mean, Delaquist, I have been in more knockdown dragouts with that guy than I know, but I have also had some really great dinners and some really great talks with him, and consider him a friend, even though we go at it all the time, but it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's because I respect it,
Yeah.
Okay.
So mine, and then let's close. So quickly, I'm just going to be really, really quick. Be open-minded, right? Email marketing, because of how it is, it's very, legislative driven. we tend to be very, very focused on silver bullets because of what I mentioned beforehand. We are very, very busy, and we have, we're just literally on a conveyor belt, just churning things out. So we are looking for silver bullets, and we tend to look at best practices as being those silver bullets. Now, the question is, are those best practices actually truly best practices?
Yep.
Right? Or are they archaic? Are they trends? Whatever. So it's up to you to question, be open-minded, and understand and test whether it's up to, whether it's suitable for your brand. So that is my big, thing basically to any email marketer, whether new, old, intermediate, whatever the story is, be open-minded and question.
I agree. Last question, because we didn't answer it earlier because I skipped it.
Oh.
What and which is if you've hung in here this long watching this video, yay, tweet it. What is your hobby interest outside of email marketing? When you virtually close the office door, what's the thing that kind of recharges your battery?
Oh my goodness. Family, friends, being in my garden, gardening. I used to have a lot more hobbies, but email is kind of busy at the moment. Walking, driving in the countryside in my convertible, and going for walks and going to a country pub. That's it.
Nice.
Oh, and traveling, of course.
Of course. God. My side, so cooking. That's why I'm in the kitchen today.
Yes.
So I give
and I've got my gardening stuff. Can you all see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Over there.
You got your cooking. Awesome.
I got my cooking. And then, so cooking, wine. That's a huge wine fridge. I've got 2 of those.
That's your wine fridge?
Yes.
Okay. But you like red though, don't you?
Reds, and I got about 90% reds, about 10% white.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I've got 2 of those, about 279 bottles or something like that.
Okay.
In the house. And then I play golf.
Yes.
With my dad, and I got family around here, spending time with them, travel, seeing my friends.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
I'm a news junkie. Although lately I haven't been. I've had to disconnect.
No, it's too crazy. It's literally, you couldn't make it up, could you?
Wouldn't.
No.
Not even, The Onion has been surpassed.
I know. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap up. Thank you all for joining us today. Later episodes, we're going to ask different people the same kind of questions we asked ourselves today. Try and get not only the professional look at who they are, but who they are as a person, and how almost how you can relate to them and to grow your own career. I'm honored to be joined and do this with Kath. She's been a longtime friend and somebody I look up to. And gosh, it's going to be fun. Pretty much our motto is we're going to make it up as we go, because that's how we built our careers. Making it up. Don't forget to like and share and follow. Hit the little follow button down below. Tweet us on Twitter. So Kath Pay, it's holistic. What's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, so at Holistic Email or at Kath Pay. We might even set one up for this as well. Yep.
And then
Uncorked and Uncut.
Uncorked and Uncut. If we can get it, it'll be up by the time we post this video.
Yeah.
Mine's Ryan P. Phelan. Find us on LinkedIn. Find us anywhere. We'll set up an email address and all that stuff. But this being our pilot episode, we're really just, throwing it out there and seeing what you think. Kath, any closing thoughts?
No. Yep. Just give us your feedback. That'd be really, really good. Let us know about the length. Is it too short, too long? I doubt it would be too short. So, let us know if you think it, more snappier one would be better. We are open to improving this, because we're not just doing this for you. We're doing, for us, we're doing it for you.
We're not doing it for you. We're doing it for us.
We're doing it for us. Just because we are so bored. No.
Yeah, we got tons of time. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, and everybody stay safe and good luck out there. Good hunting.